ladies and gentlemen, to watch President Trump fly into Melbourne, Florida yesterday with Flight of the Valkyries blasting out like the Götterdämmerung, the battle of the gods, the twilight of the earth was upon us, was amazing. But even more amazing, out of the hundreds of news articles I have here that are all incredibly important, is CNBC, MSNBC, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and CNN, all here in my right hand, as TV viewers can see, as radio listeners can imagine, admit the best consumer spending and small business startups and numbers we've ever seen in 25 years. All because of Trump. And optimism and the American people waking up and taking action. That's coming up. I'm going to get to the stack. It is so big. See, globalists want to pick winners and losers. Trump just wants to have a big fat free market, which will even empower the elites even more. But see, they don't want you to have any piece of the pie. So we've got that information. I'm here because I want to be among the people. Trump continues his assault on fake news and corrupt media with campaign-style rally in front of 9,000 in Florida, with another 10,000 that couldn't get in after rough week at White House. Daily Mail. Rough week? Oh, it was really rough. His approval rating went up 5 points. And 5 points the week before that. Oh, it's so rough. Like if you win the lottery, it's just so rough. So we're going to break all that down. Bypassing MSM, Trump briefs Americans directly on national security. That's up on Infowars.com. Meanwhile, Jay Sekulow has come out and pointed out on Fox News that Obama should be held accountable for the soft coup against Trump. President Obama, James Clapper, Loretta Lynch should be held accountable for the illegal leaks and the attempt to overthrow the elected president of the United States. That's all coming up today as well. But if you want to know who the liars are here, as Trump delivers with the facts and delivers with known economic policies that are one-sided because special corporate interests were selling out our interests for money. He's just getting rid of the unfair playing field. People think he's like a saint for doing it. He's just not out to get us. He just wouldn't do it. Let's look at what the Pope and Angela Merkel had to say. Now, the Pope just 3 months ago came out in an encyclical, was picked up by papers that weren't said. It makes him nauseous to hear about Europe's Christian roots and not opening up to Islam and their giant baby boom. Yeah, the Pope said he gets nauseous hearing about Christians and Christian roots. In case you think I'm joking, here's mainstream news. It's AP, Reuters, everybody has it. Pope Francis, Muslim terrorism does not exist, close quote. And next he's going to tell me that Donald Trump doesn't wear red ties or fish don't swim in the ocean. I mean, this is the guy that said we couldn't have Donald Trump. But it gets better. In an impassioned address Friday, Pope Francis denied the existence of Islamic terrorism while simultaneously calling for open borders. Here's another one. Now, the Daily Star. Angela Merkel says Europe must take more refugees and Islam isn't the source of terror. That's why most Muslim countries killing each other and selling women on slave blocks. And they call us the fake news. No, the truth is we're the straight-up news, and you better get used to it, ladies and gentlemen, because I was talking to the New York Times the last few days and some big profile piece tomorrow, and they're like, oh, we don't believe you have 5 billion views. So I added up 5 billion views on YouTube, enough from just different channels, and sent them a link. And they had to admit it to me over the phone. I said, so does anybody else have 1 billion or 2 billion? No, they don't. Yes, do we have the most? Yes, we do. 5 billion views on our channels. Not bragging. It's just I'm sick of like these people hopping around with CNN shows with the average show like 100,000, 200,000 viewers, or biggest shows 1 million viewers. Just telling me all day I'm fake news when all I'm doing is quoting the Pope, quoting the Saudi Arabians, quoting Merkel. It's crazy. Yeah, one channel we've got's got 100, it's got 1 billion, 200 million views on it. This is the frustration, and we're on hundreds of commercial radio stations, but I don't have to sit here and announce how big we are. The point is, they're a joke. MSM is collapsing because it's so sold out. Before I go any further here, let me start getting to these clips. Because I've said this, Rand Paul's not perfect, but he's a good man, a good senator who exposed the carbon taxes that bankrupt our coal industry, that exposed the open borders, that exposed the gun control, that exposed our government under Hillary and Obama and under the next Secretary of State as well, not just Hillary, but John Kerry, were funding al-Qaeda that changed its name to ISIS, and he said we shouldn't be the Air Force for him. Well, he's come out and said that Trump's doing a lot of good for the economy. And his father was on a few weeks ago and said, no, I have to say, Trump's cutting regulations and trying to cut taxes is exactly what we need to get out of this recession and depression and get the big banks to give lower interest loans to the public. This is all so good, so wholesome, so pure. And then I'm going to give you CNN having to admit it as well, because the best economic numbers in 25 years just came in, not for big banks, not for the ultra-rich, but for Main Street, small businesses, and average workers. Let's go to Senator Rand Paul.
Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Senator Paul, thank you for joining us. And I want to start with what the president said, fine-tuned machine over this first month. Is that what you're seeing?
Well, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and from where I sit, we've done a lot of good things. You know, we repealed regulations for the first time in 20 years using the Congressional Review Act. 3 regulations that were going to cost the economy hundreds of millions of dollars and tens of thousands of jobs. That is big progress. We're on schedule to repeal Obamacare. Big progress. His cabinet picks, from a conservative point of view, have exceeded my expectations. I think Scott Pruitt's going to be great at EPA. I think we're really going to do some conservative things. Supreme Court Justice, I could have picked. So I'm actually very, very pleased with where we are.
All right, it cut out a bit. We didn't edit that. It's just he said, Supreme Court pick, I would have picked, like the best you could get when it comes to statutory and voting and rulings and, you know, what happened. And I raise that because we're going into cardiac financial arrest. I mean, if we don't turbocharge the economy, it's game over. And the elites want that. They admit that they want you super poor, all the big billionaires that gave almost unanimously to Hillary and not to Trump. No Goldman Sachs money to Trump, all the money to Hillary. They want an imploded economy they control, civil unrest they control and direct, so they can drive down wages. It came out in 2002 in the IMF and World Bank documents. Joseph Stiglitz, Pulitzer Prize winner, not Pulitzer Prize winner, Nobel Prize winner for economics, came out and exposed their whole plan. He's a liberal. So they know how to make the public wealthy. They know how to turn the engines of wealth loose, but the elites won't be able to consolidate control and have monopolies if they do that. So I went to that report. I want to come back before we get to more clips from Trump's latest insanely good speech in Florida and get to this article that's deceptive in the headline, but everything else in CNN is true in this article. There's one thing going right for Trump. No, he's going after political correctness. He's following through on his promises. He is energizing America. He's creating confidence again. He's defending our borders. He's doing everything he said he would do. But they say, no, there's one thing going right, implying this is the only thing. And then they list all the economic numbers and how incredibly successful Trump is at energizing the grassroots and the average person. So here's the deal. If you want to have a level playing field and to see some of the incredible wealth that civilization and human activity has available, you should back Trump. That's why I'm so behind him. Because all the big mega banks, all the power structures, they are clearly against him. So it's a no-brainer. And then he's delivering. That's why they're in panic. But it's a smaller and smaller elite group that are openly opposing Trump because others are just seeing the stock market explode, all this prosperity, and they're saying, why are we in the way of this? The truth is, globalists with their eugenics and their austerity had to really whip everybody into submission to something that's always been incredibly unpopular. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing. Today we call it bone broth. And for thousands of years, our ancestors enjoyed its benefits before it became lost to our modern diets of processed junk. We are now introducing Caveman by InfoWarsLife.com, the ultimate in true paleo nutrition with bone broth, turmeric root, chaga mushroom, and 7 total primal superfoods in a single great tasting formula. Caveman. It's those people living in the wilds having to actually build civilization that are our superior ancestors. And we need to do everything we can to recapture that. Everyone knew that you used all the parts of the animal. You used the meat for sustenance, the fat for cooking, but you used the bones for strength. From the outside structure full of minerals and key cofactors to the marrow that produces the blood for the body. This is the engine of the life essence. I'm a long way from the caveman my ancestors were, but I'm sure as hell trying to get back to that essence that made us what we were, and this is a big part of it. I know you're going to want to check out Caveman Ultimate Paleo Formula for yourself at InfoWarsLife.com today.